Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news video. So kind of two topics, one of them is not really news, it's just a topic I want to bring up. But the news here is that we have a new Legend of Korra statue announced. And this was an interesting one because when I first saw the kind of general description, when it was literally just a tagline for it, I was like, oh, is Korra like the third figure in the line after the Dark Horse Katara, Dark Horse Zuko that we heard about a bunch of weeks ago? And it's like, it's from Dark Horse, but it's not actually from the same line. And as the details get revealed on this, my excitement just went from being like, must have, must pre-order, to being like, oh, I'm not getting this, and this isn't even that great. So let's go through this. So IGN got the exclusive reveal on this, and it actually is an exclusive reveal this time. I don't think we knew about this ahead of time at all. So straight away, Dark Horse Direct has me going like, no. This is kind of a little bit kind of wrong here. Dark Horse Direct revealed its Airbender statues when it's like, no, the Airbender ones are not Dark Horse Direct. They're just Dark Horse. So Korra, here's the statue. It's a Book 4 Korra statue, as you can see here. It is Dark Horse Direct. It says here, statue was sculpted by Big Shot Toy Works. Prototyping, paint design handled by JW Productions. 10 inches tall, 4-inch diameter base. Priced at $199.99, so $200 for this thing. We'll get into it as we go on. And they do mention it's pricier than the Zuko and the Katara together, like both of them together you could get for less than the price of this one. The statue is limited to 1,000 units worldwide and is available to pre-order. We'll go to that website in a second. Should ship between November 2022 and January 2023, so that's a reasonable release window. And then that's really it. So let's go here. So you can see straight away, here's the Dark Horse Direct website, $199.99. Straight away you can just see like they don't ship to Ireland. It's a bit weird where they do and don't ship to, and that like put in France, and they ship there, but they don't ship to Ireland. And then it seems to just be a coin flip if they ship to certain European countries. I don't really understand what the deal is. Now, I could theoretically get this shipped to the UK and then sent to me, but that would like really increase the cost. But as we'll get into it, I'm not even that super impressed with the way the figure looks. And that's the big thing here. With an expensive figure, I expect it to look incredible. And it, to me, really doesn't. And so the main appeal of this is that, one, it's a piece of Korra merchandise when we don't have that much. Two, it's Book 4 Korra, which even when we get Korra merchandise, it's highly likely that they go for early Korra stuff. So a company jumping to do the late series Korra is a surprise. But to me, the look of this figure does not match the price point. So we'll get into some of the other pictures as we go on. You get the figure and you get a certificate of authenticity. It actually says here there's 2,000 editions rather than 1,000. Not sure what the deal is there. It is made of poly resin instead of, PVC like the other one. So that's probably part of the cost increase. But I think a lot of people, like, the materials, do they matter, like, that much? I understand, like, they allow you to maybe do slightly different things. But we've seen some incredibly done Avatar figures, and Korra could definitely be done well in, cheaper materials. 2 per customer, that's fine. So yeah, there are other pictures. So let's go through them here. That gives you, I suppose, a size comparison of like how big it is. There it is again. And like, I like that they're kind of going for all 4 elements. Like, it does feature all 4 elements. I like that it's Book 4 Korra. It just feels like surprisingly just like basic or something like that. It's just almost too plain, or like the way the paint looks, it just feels dull in some ways. I do think the effect parts are a little like small. Like, that seems like a very basic fire punch. That's not a particularly large airbending sort of swirl. And again, for the price of the figure, it's weird to see it be so like subdued almost when Diamond Select have these amazing figures doing these wild bending things that are doing much more than this. And I would even say the Zuko and the Katara that they showed off like a few weeks back, they had more sort of impressive, water and fire effect parts, even though, again, they were not trying to be as crazy as the Diamond Select stuff. But just as we go through it here, it's like the face, like, it's okay. It doesn't immediately stand out to me as, like, a bad face, but it also doesn't really stand out as being like, oh yeah, they really nailed Korra here. There's something just that feels a little flat with it, that they've almost tried to, like, do the, like, accuracy to the animation, like, too much here, that there's almost no detail. It's, to me, I describe it as like it's like a 7 out of 10 sculpt, where like it's good, but it's also $200. And for those $200, I could buy 4 Diamond Select statues. You could buy the 3 that are out and have like 50 left over. That's not factoring in like shipping, of course, or anything like that. You could buy the Zuko figure, the Katara figure, and have, again, money left over as well. And you can see it here, sort of like I guess it's just a prototype, but like just the paint almost feels like too textured or something. Again, it's fine, but I think just the way that this looks and what the quality looks like, to me, does not match up at all with this price point. I get it by definition, it being part of Dark Horse Direct probably increases the price more than an equivalent figure, if it wasn't done through this system, would be. But I also don't get why this Korra statue is not just done in PVC at the sort of $80 price point alongside the Katara and the Zuko. Why complicate it by doing this fancy Korra when we don't actually have like a reasonably priced Korra statue from them? In that they kind of ended up doing something similar to this, like when they did put out their Korra merch back in, like, when Korra was airing. They only did like 1 or 2 items, but again, it was on the slightly more expensive side of things, and they didn't do too many of them. And I think just that they've saved, I think the $80 price point on the other 2 figures is a nice price point. It's still slightly expensive, but it still feels like all right. I think the second you go over 100, there's an expectation that you have to do something brilliant. And honestly, this just feels like they said polyresin and Dark Horse Direct, and they're like 2 times the price. And I don't buy it at all. If it was just this figure for 80, I think I'd be like, yeah, sure. And it was just made of different materials. I'd be like, yeah, that sounds great. But I'm not seeing it for this price. Again, I like that we're seeing Korra merch, and I want more. But the price to the way it looks doesn't really match up to me. So we're still waiting to see the pop-up parade Korra, which again, that at least has basically a set price. Unless they suddenly decide to announce that that's one of the slightly bigger pop-up parades, that's going to have a very set price of like $42 or whatever. And the quality on those is pretty nice. So keep an eye out for that, because, there is going to be more Korra merch coming. We know there's at least that pop-up parade, and hopefully more. So the other thing I just wanted to mention, I don't want to go on too long about this, but Beast of the Four Nations. There's no new update or anything like that. I just want to mention that today, May 24th, marks 1 year since we found out about the existence of this book. May 24th, 2021 was the day that we found out about it. And it's a year on, and the book is still more or less in the exact same spot it was in a year ago, where we don't know anything more about it, and arguably we now know less about it, because at least when it was announced, it had a release date. It was like October 2021. It obviously didn't come out. And it probably wasn't really likely to come out, because that was right in the middle of all of the deluxe edition releases, when it's the last deluxe edition. But right now you can see here it says December 28th for both deluxe and non-deluxe. That's just the last Wednesday in the year. I don't actually think that's the release date, though it's definitely in what I would consider the release window of this book to be, or at least what the release window should be. If the book 4 Balance second edition, so the 5th of the 6 deluxe editions, is coming out in July, then this book should be out 4 to 6 months after that if they're keeping the same general release cadence. So November, December, January 2023, February 2023, one of those months this book should come out. But the problem with it is that in the whole year that this book has been known about by everyone, Dark Horse have never posted about it. They have no listing up on their website. Most places, like bookstores where you can theoretically order it from, probably don't actually have it for sale. They either have a release date that's wildly into the future, like 2040, or they just say that it's currently unavailable because it was indefinitely postponed at one point in the middle of things. It seems like that maybe wasn't exactly the case, but what that meant was that it effectively never has a release date. So it was, for some reason, just pushed out like way too early before it was actually ready to come out. And I'm guessing this is a factor of just the whole Avatar Studios slowing things down for Dark Horse, in combination with Dark Horse, I guess, trying to stretch out the few releases that they do have. And in the sense that, like, yeah, it was always going to be the 6th of the deluxe editions, it makes sense. But we're getting to the point where they've got a couple of months. If this book is to come out this year, they pretty much have to announce it within the next 2 months. Otherwise, it probably won't come out this year. And that's just the way it works. We have basically solicitations for books up until like sort of October-ish, November. So there's still an opportunity for, say, the solicitations like next month to announce stuff for, you know, November, December, and so on. So, you know, we might find out. There's still a chance for this to still work out okay. But it's very, to me, emblematic of the year, of the last 2 years, of lack of communication from Dark Horse, no information, us knowing about these things for ages and delays happening, and it just be like, okay, this is classic Dark Horse, I guess we're gonna never know what this thing is. And especially because it is something that is quite interesting. This is likely going to be a 95 to 100% new content completely throughout this book, because I'd be shocked if they use screenshots from the show at like almost any point of this book. They might use some high quality art that they already have for certain animals, but for anything beyond the obvious animals, I think they're going to have to do new art, and similarly new descriptions for like the more encyclopedia part of the book. This is going to be full on new, versus nearly every book that Dark Horse has put out over the last while has been partial or full reprints. So a lot more work has to go into this book. And because you can see there, writers various, artists various, they probably have a lot to organize with this one. This one is actually the one where it's very understandable why it might be actually delayed for production reasons, but we don't know anything about it. So it's just a mystery, and I think it's important to bring this up a year on that, wow, this is actually pretty crazy that we as fans, people selling the book, it's up on official previews world, which means this is where comic stores order their books from. And you can see it has like the order button if you're a comic shop right there. This isn't like it's just leaked information and like it just hasn't been like fully announced yet. No, it's technically announced. It's just Dark Horse are being weird about it. So what's going on? When are we going to actually hear about this? But that's just important to note. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on the new Korra statue. What are your thoughts on it? The price point, the decision to make it a Dark Horse Direct product instead of just being part of their new statue line that they recently announced, and all the stuff that goes with it. How do you actually like the figure itself? And then Beast of the Four Nations. A year since its quote-unquote reveal, where do you stand with this book? What are your thoughts on what's going on with it? Do you think they'll just properly announce it in the coming months and it will slot into that window I talked about from November to February? But that otherwise, that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.